Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen. Honorable members and dear mourners, I have one announcement to make, and this is to the effect that I wish to recognize the presence in the Speaker's Gallery of the family members of the late former Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa. Among them are the following: Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, widow of the late former Speaker. Honorable Mr. Justice Melvin Sitwala Mwanamwambwa, Ms. Pelekero Mwanamwambwa, Mrs. Christine Nawa, Chief Alogoa, Mr. Herbert Alogoa Ikechukwa, Mrs. Gertrude Alagoa, Mrs. Alagoa James Ikechukwa, Dr. Kechi Alagoa, Mrs. Charlotte Mwanamwambwa Wright, Mrs. Ngozi Asinga, Ms. Adobe Mwanamwambwa. Honorable members, may I also recognize the presence of the following: the Right Honorable Dr. Moses F.M. Wetangula, EGH MP, Speaker of the Parliament of Kenya. Honorable Mr. Justice Patrick Matibini, State Counsel, former Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia. Honorable Honorable Catherine Namgala, MP, former Deputy Speaker. Honorable Chifumu Kingdom Banda, former State Counsel, former Chairperson of the Committee of the Whole House. Honorable Mwimba Malama, MP, former Second Deputy Speaker. and Mrs. K.K. Mwinga, former clerk of the National Assembly of Zambia. Delegates representing the following parliaments: National Assembly of Gambia, Parliament of Ghana, Parliament of Kenya, National Assembly of Malawi, National Assembly of Mauritius, Parliament of Mozambique, National Assembly of Namibia, National Assembly of Seychelles, Parliament of Sierra Leone, Parliament of South Africa, Legislative Council of the St. Helena, Parliament of the United Kingdom, and Parliament of Uganda. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I wish to thank our guests for joining us on this very solemn occasion. I thank you. Honorable members, may I now request the House to be upstanding as the pallbearers bring the casket into the chamber and place it at the foot of the chamber. We may take our seats. Honorable members, we solemnly gather this morning to conduct the valedictory service in honor and memory of the late Amusa Mwanamwambwa, former Speaker of the National Assembly. The clerk will now guide the rendering of tributes to the life of the late former Speaker, Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa.
Honorable members and fellow mourners, allow me to call upon the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Brian Munduwile MP, to come to the table to give his tribute to the life of the late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa.
Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, members of the bereaved family, Her Honor the Vice President, Mrs. W.K. Mutale Nalumango MP, the Right Honorable Nelly B.K. Muti, MP FAPRA, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Malungo A. Sangano, MP, First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses F. Moyo, MP, Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, former presiding officers, Honorable Cabinet Ministers present, Honorable Stafford Mulusa, MP, Government Chief Whip, provincial ministers present, honorable members of parliament, and fellow mourners. On behalf of the opposition in the House, and indeed on my own behalf, I wish to convey my deepest sympathies to the bereaved family and the entire nation on the death of Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, GCDS, former Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, who passed away on Saturday, 21st October 2023. Madam Speaker, fellow mourners, at the outset, I would like to mention that as the opposition in the House, we have received the news of the demise of Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa with great shock and a sense of deep sorrow. As others have said, the life, work, and influence of the late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa had a far-reaching positive impact on the people, both within and outside the country. Honorable Mwanamwambwa represented the nation and our parliament at various parliamentary fora, such as the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, CPA, meetings and conferences, the Inter-Parliamentary Union, IPU, assemblies, and many other similar meetings. His wisdom, great wealth of knowledge and experience enriched the contributions made at this forum. His contribution to promoting quality, diversity, and dignity in Parliament, both local and beyond, served to strengthen parliamentary democracy. Madam Speaker, fellow mourners, I do not wish to make a long speech. Therefore, let me end by stating that the death of Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa is not only a great loss to his family, but also to the nation and the entire parliamentary community. It is for this reason that the opposition in the House joins the bereaved family and the entire nation in paying our last respects to a man who served his nation to the best of his ability. May his soul rest in peace. I thank you.
Madam Speaker, honorable members, may I now call upon the Honorable Government Chief Whip, Honorable Stafford Mulusa MP, to come to the table to deliver his tribute.
Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, members of the bereaved family, our honored Vice President, Mrs. W.K. Mutale-Nalmango MP, the Right Honorable Nelly B.K. Muti MP, FAPRA, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Malungo H. Sangano MP, First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses F. Moyo, Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, former presiding officers, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Brian Mundubire, MP, Leader of the Opposition, Provincial Ministers present, Honorable Members of Parliament, and fellow mourners, good morning. I stand here with a heavy heart to give a speech on the loss of Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, former Speaker of the National Assembly. Allow me to begin by conveying, on behalf of the United Party for National Development, and indeed on my own behalf, our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved family, this House, and the nation at large. As the UPND, we are deeply saddened by this great loss to the nation. Madam Speaker, honorable members, fellow mourners, as Speaker, we in the UPND will remember Honorable Mwanamwambwa for the fair manner in which he treated us despite being in the opposition at that time. He was open-minded and diplomatic, in addition to being an accomplished adjudicator in the House. I'm glad to note that the former Speaker has left us a wealth of knowledge which can be accessed from the records of the parliamentary proceedings or others. These will be valued, appreciated, and serve as points of reference for many years to come. Madam Speaker, honorable members, fellow mourners, with the foresaid, let me take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to both the ruling party and the opposition for the unity that has been exhibited during the period of mourning the late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa. As we mourn, however, let me request all of us to also celebrate his life for the invaluable contributions that he made to parliamentary democracy. Madam Speaker, honorable members, fellow mourners, in conclusion, I would like to reiterate our sincere condolences to the bereaved family and friends. We also wish them God's guidance and comfort in these trying moments. May his soul rest in peace. I thank you.
May I now call upon our Honour the Vice President and Leader of Government Business in the House to render a tribute from her seat.
Miss Catherine Mwanamwambwa, members of the bereaved family, the Right Honorable Nelly Butete Kashumba Miti, MP, Speaker of the National Assembly, the visiting presiding officers, Honorable Malungo A. Chisangano, MP, First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Frank Moyo, MP, Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, former presiding officers present, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Stafford Mulusa, MP, Government Chief Whip, Honorable Brian Munduvile, MP, Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Provincial Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, fellow mourners, good morning. At the outset, permit me to convey, on behalf of the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the entire government, and indeed on my own behalf, our sincere condolences and profound sympathies to the bereaved family, the National Assembly, and the nation at large on the loss of our statesman, Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, who died on Saturday, 21st October 2023. Madam Speaker, as the House may be aware, Honorable Mwanamwambwa diligently served the people of Zambia in various portfolios. Allow me to highlight a few. Between 1991 and 1998, Honorable Mwanamwambwa held a number of positions in government, including Deputy Minister of Tourism in 1993, Minister of Sports, Youth and Child Development in 1994, Minister of Legal Affairs in 1995, Minister of Information and Broadcasting Services in 1996, Minister of Tourism in 1996, and Minister of Agriculture, Food and Fisheries in 1998. Madam Speaker, honorable members and fellow mourners, you may also be aware that I was elected first female Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia under the speakership of the late Honorable Mwanamwambwa. Therefore, I have a lot of fond memories of him. To me, and probably many others, Honorable Mwanamwambwa was a gentleman with exceptional personal and professional qualities, which enabled him to execute his role as presiding officer exceptionally well. As a deputy speaker then, I learned a lot from the way he executed his duties as a presiding officer. Madam Speaker, while we mourn the loss of such a gallant statesman, we pay tribute and celebrate a life that, in my view, was well lived. A life committed to duty in every capacity he served. To me, he portrayed such a character of service to man. He portrayed integrity. He portrayed sincerity. He was indeed, as others have said, a world of knowledge and wisdom. Anybody who worked with him, Madam Speaker, we were attested to this, as you have heard those that have earlier spoken before me. He is worthy emulating. Madam Speaker, honorable members, fellow mourners, let me reiterate that life is indeed fleeting. However, a life lived to the fullest, as Honorable Mwanamwambwa lived, stays in fond memories of many. We therefore said I would like to commend you, Madam Speaker, and the management of the National Assembly for organizing this honorable and befitting send-off for our departed statesman. I wish the family of the late, this House and the nation at large, courage and strength to bear this irreparable loss. But we must emulate him. My prayer is to emulate the type of leadership that this gallant man put up. He worked just as you saw him. He committed everything to his work. He did it with such integrity. He did it without question. That is the man who will be laid to rest, the one we send off now. Indeed, may his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you, Madam.
Lastly, but not the least, I call upon the Right Honorable Ms. Nelly B.K. Muti, MP, FAPRA, Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, to give the valedictory speech in honor of the life of the late Honorable former Speaker of the National Assembly. Madam Speaker.
Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, members of the bereaved family, Her Honor the Vice President, Mrs. W.K. Mutale Nalumango, MP, Honorable Malungo Attractor Chisangano, MP, First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Frank Moyo, Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, former presiding officers present, Honorable Cabinet Ministers present, Honorable Stafford Molusa, MP, Government Chief Whip, Honorable Brian Munduvile, MP, Leader of Opposition, Provincial Ministers present, Honorable Members of Parliament, former Cabinet Ministers present, the representative of the SADC Parliamentary Forum, fellow mourners. Honorable members and fellow mourners, we are gathered here today in this august house to bid farewell to the late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, former Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia. Although the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2021 do not expressly provide for the holding of a valedictory service for a former speaker or indeed a former member of parliament, I invoked the provisions of Standing Order 239 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2021 to enable the House conduct a valedictory service for the late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, former Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, in recognition of his distinguished and patriotic service rendered to this august House and the nation at large. Honorable members, fellow mourners, allow me to say a few words about the parliamentary career of the late Honorable Amusa K. Mwanamwambwa. The late Honorable Mwanamwambwa was elected to the National Assembly of Zambia as a Member of Parliament for Liwa Parliamentary Constituency in 1991 and held the position up to 1998, when he was first elected Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, taking over from the late Honorable Dr. Robinson Nabuliato. Honorable members, during his illustrious career as Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa presided over this House with the utmost honor and dignity. I must mention that it will be an incomplete eulogy for the late Honorable Mwanamwambwa if I do not state the pivotal role that the late former Speaker played in the actualization of the parliamentary reforms. It was during his tenure as Speaker that constituency offices, Parliament Radio, and the construction of a new committee building came into being. The late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa also initiated the concept of the Media and Visitors Center, whose construction was completed during his predecessor, the Right Honorable Dr. Patrick Matibini, State Council. In a nutshell, the late Honorable Mwanamwambwa left an indelible mark on the reformation of the Zambian Parliament, bringing it closer to the people. Honorable members, fellow mourners, in the House, the late Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa will be remembered for his quest to improve the quality of debate, to the extent that he would at times suspend business of the House in order to orient members on how to handle parliamentary issues. The late Honorable Amusa K. Mwanamwambwa, even after retiring from the position of Speaker in 2011, continued to interact with the National Assembly of Zambia and always stood ready to render guidance whenever called upon. On several occasions, the late Mwanamwambwa was called upon to offer counsel to newly elected parliamentarians on the roles and privileges of Parliament, especially during the post-election seminars, in his quest to continue providing guidance for both presiding officers and members of Parliament in their work as parliamentarians. Honorable Mwanamwambwa authored the book, Mr. Speaker, making him the second former Speaker in the Commonwealth to publish a book. Let me also take this opportunity to state that the late Speaker Mwanamwambwa was very impactful in both regional and international parliamentary organizations, as earlier mentioned, such as the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, CPA, the Pan-African Parliament, PAP, and the SADC Parliamentary Forum, SADC-PF. For the SADC-PF, he was engaged as a resource person on various programs, especially those on model laws in the region, due to his rich and deeper understanding of the parliamentary procedures and processes. Honorable members, fellow mourners, on a more personal reflection with the departed Speaker. Immediately I was elected Speaker, I paid a courtesy call on him and continued to consult him from time to time on matters of the House. His words on speakership still remain vivid to this day of his burial. And I quote, "The hallmark of speakership is impartiality and integrity," end of quote. To date, these words will remain guiding principles for me as Speaker. Honorable members and fellow mourners, despite the many things that I have to say in honor of the late Honorable Mwanamwambwa, allow me to convey on behalf of the National Assembly, and indeed on my own behalf, our sincere condolences to the bereaved family and the entire nation for this untimely loss. Our hearts and prayers are with Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, the children, and the entire family. May the soul of the departed rest in eternal peace. Go well, Mutompei. Fare thee well, Mukulwange. Fare thee well, Mr. Speaker. I thank you. Honorable members, to mark the close of the valedictory service, the casket will be taken to the main entrance. After the adjournment of the House, board viewing will be conducted in the following order. The Honorable Madam Speaker and other presiding officers, Her Honor the Vice President, former presiding officers, Cabinet and provincial ministers, the Government Chief Whip, the Leader of Opposition, the Patriotic Front Whip, the Whip for Independence, members of Parliament starting with those in the outermost seats, assisted by the Chamber Assistants, former clerks of the National Assembly of Zambia. Honorable members are reminded that a bus will be parked at the library car park to ferry honorable members wishing to attend the burial. May the soul of the departed Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa rest in eternal peace. The pallbearers will now take the casket to the main entrance of the chamber for board viewing. May I request that we all be upstanding as the casket is being taken to the main entrance.
There you have it. That note actually brings us almost to the end of the valedictory service, ending with a tribute that has been delivered by Madam Speaker, Right Honorable Madam Nelly Muti. Very moving tribute that the Right Honorable Madam Speaker Nelly Muti just made.
Yes, Claudette, and earlier on when the service started, Madam Speaker did recognize the presence in the Speaker's gallery of the family members of the late former Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, among them Mrs. Catherine Mwanamwambwa, widow to the late former Speaker, Honorable Mr. Justice Marvin Sitwala Mwanamwambwa, Mrs. Pedekelo Mwanamwambwa, Mrs. Christine Nawa, so as we are speaking, the pallbearers are just taking the casket outside the chamber where members of parliament will be accorded an opportunity to pay their last respect by body viewing, and the casket will proceed to the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross, where the church service will take place, and I'll be able to share with you some of the tributes that have been made, beginning with leader of the opposition, Honorable Brian Munduvile.
We may take our seats. Order, honorable members. Her Honor the Vice President, adjournment.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
The question is, that the House do now adjourn. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House? Is now adjourned.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. The House has since adjourned. It's now time for body viewing, which will be led by the Right Honourable Madam Speaker and other presiding officers, being followed by Her Honour the Vice President, former presiding officers, Honourable Cabinet and Provincial Ministers, the Honourable Government Chief Whip, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, followed by the Honourable Deputy Government Chief Whip, the Honourable Patriotic Front Whip, the Honourable Independent Whip, Honourable Members of Parliament, former clerks of the National Assembly, and of course staff of the National Assembly of Zambia.
So there you have it. That's the Honourable Madam Speaker, the Right Honourable Madam Nelly Muti, paying her last respect to the former Speaker of the National Assembly, Honourable Amusa Mwanamwambwa, followed by the first Deputy Speaker and the second Deputy Speaker there. And at this particular time, it is our honour, the Vice Republican President, who has just paid her last respect to the Speaker that she worked with, like you heard in our tribute, where she has described him as a man of integrity, and she did share some of the experiences that she had with the former Speaker of the National Assembly. At the time, she served as Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia.
So we have in our midst guests from parliaments across